Welcome to the Papa Dennis Show. Charlie Collicutt from the Guilford County Board of Elections is here with us, director of the Guilford County Board of Elections. And Charlie, thank you very much for being here. I guess this is an incredibly busy time for you guys, isn't it?
It is. It's a presidential year, so it's busy, and then add these extra layers on top, and it's really wild right
And
now.
a lot of controversy this year over uh, mail-in ballots and absentee ballots and so on. So I wanted to talk to you some about that. um, how many requests for mail-in ballots? Do you have a number? How many requests have you gotten so far this year, and how does it compare to uh, another presidential year, say 2016?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we're over 30,000 requests right now. More come in every day. That number is going to change when the next change drastically when the next mail comes in today, and also over the weekend when we come in on Monday. Over 30,000 in 2016. For the entire election, we used about 12,000 ballots total. So we're really tracking higher than anything we've ever seen before, drastically higher than anything we've ever seen before.
Well, do you have a breakdown? Is it broken down according to party as to how many from each party is requesting absentee ballots?
Yeah, I can get that data. That is available. I don't have it readily available for me right now, but I could go do some searches. Something I can certainly do for you if we want to talk about it this another time. We can
Okay.
break down those numbers.
Well, based on past years, um, uh, are absentee ballot requests requested more from one party than another?
Traditionally, absentee by mail, especially in Guilford County, had been utilized at a little bit of a higher rate by Republicans, and it skewed a little bit older. That's starting to change, and it's getting a little bit more. Uh, what we've seen in 2018 is, and from the primary is, it's getting a little bit more closer to the actual ratio of the registered of how that party is registered within Guilford County.
The now the absentee ballot requests that you have received so far in Guilford County in North Carolina, you don't need a specific reason to request an absentee ballot, and that's always been the case, hasn't it?
That's been the case for a long time. There used to be an excuse, and some of the more experienced staff members remember those days, but it predates me, and so no, for a number of years now, it's been no excuse absentee voting for North Carolina.
Now, the requests that have come in for absentee ballots, when are those ballots going to be mailed out to people?
Right, we will begin mailing those ballots on September 4th, Friday.
Uh, Next Friday, September 4th, they'll
Next
start
Friday,
going out.
September 4th. Yeah,
And
it is a mad rush. Once these conventions are over, we get these ballots as quickly as we can. The printers start really earning their paycheck and getting them to us.
so the ballots go out September 4th. People should start seeing them showing up in their mailboxes in just a few days, probably. Do you anticipate getting a lot of those ballots returned quickly? What is the normal?
Yeah.
Normally, what happens with the ballots?
Normally, we see voters turn them around fairly quickly. Obviously, there's always exceptions, but normally the voter gets it and then sends it in within a couple of days. I don't know if that's going to be what we see this year. I think there may be a large segment of voters that get these ballots as a precaution, just because they don't know what the near future is going to hold, and they may sit on them for a while before they decide I'm going to use this ballot, or it's just too late. I'm going to go. I'm going to just go vote in person.
Do you anticipate any problems with mail service and getting those ballots returned or getting the ballots sent out to people?
What I can control is what my staff does. So getting those ballots from my office to USPS, I can tell you we're going to do a great job. We're going to be efficient. We're going to be quick, and we're going to do a good service. Once it gets there, I'm not immune to watching the news. I've heard the news, and I also know from experience, a lot of voters are well served. But even in the best of circumstances, sometimes we know of stories of instances where voters got their ballot well after we mailed it. We get ballots back oftentimes that are even in other circumstances, previous years, the postmark is way different, way earlier than when we received that ballot. We get ballots in the weeks after the election every year as well that we know were mailed on time. So it's always been an issue, but a small scale issue. I do not know what is going to happen this year. I know what we can control on our end, and I just don't know.
All right, people who have requested mail-in ballots, obviously, with the large number of requests that you've had so far this year, it means a lot of people who don't normally request them are doing so, and so maybe they're unfamiliar with how to fill them out and
Right.
everything like that. So, what would you advise people to do when they get these ballots and start filling them out? What would you advise people to do to make sure that they're not going to be rejected?
Right. The first thing is go ahead and do it. Don't let it sit. Don't wait till closer to election day. Get that thing filled out and in the mail as soon as you can. This is a little bit different than the way that this process has worked in the past. The voter is going to have to sign a certification on that outer envelope and also get a witness. One witness is also going to have to certify that they saw the voter put the ballot in the envelope and fill it out and mail it. So get your witness. Get a witness lined up. Don't sit it and wait. This is different than in the past when you needed two witnesses or the one witness requirement. The voter is going to have to put a stamp on this piece of mail and mail it in. So that's the big ones is don't wait. Make sure you're signing everywhere you need to sign and get your witness lined up.
The witness, can it be a family member? Does it, or does it matter who the witness is? Do they need to be of a certain age to be a witness?
Right. They just it just has to be another person. That's the way that the law is written. It doesn't have to be a registered voter. It doesn't have to be a relative. It doesn't have to be a notary. Certainly not a notary. It's just asking for a person. I think that, and I don't want to misspeak. I think it does need to be. Probably can't be a minor, but anybody else, and no candidates on the ballot can be a witness either. And if you're and here's another caveat: if you're in a nursing or care facility, it can't be an employee of that facility.
Okay. Now, what are most, I would imagine in the years past, a certain percentage of ballots that you receive are rejected for one reason or another. What is the main reason that you find that ballots do get rejected?
Right. The main reason was not having witnesses. Some combination of not having both witnesses or not having any witnesses at all. Now that we're back to or down to a one witness requirement, that is some portion that will not get rejected. I think there's been a good redesign of this envelope to make it really clear what the requirements are. So hopefully that helps with some of the rejection rate. But that's number one, is not having the witnesses, followed by not signing at all.
Will people be able to get those ballots back to you in other ways without having to mail them through the U.S. Post Office? Can they bring them to the office? Will there be drop-off boxes or anything like that, like some states have?
Right. So North Carolina is very specific with how a ballot can be returned. You can mail it, and then there's two other ways. You can bring it to your county elections office. We here in Guilford County have one in Greensboro and in High Point. We'll have a no contact type way where you can drop it off. Or you can drop it off at an early voting site during early voting hours. But like some states, we do not have drop boxes throughout the county where a voter can just drive up in their car, put one in, and leave. And there's a couple of reasons. The statutes are clear. Mail it, Board of Elections office, or early voting site. But two, North Carolina has a very specific statute on who can drop off a ballot. It needs to be the voter or a near relative. And by law, we have to track and log who the person was that dropped off those ballots or that ballot. So those are the two reasons why we're not going to just have drop boxes throughout the county like some states do.
So if when you get the ballots returned, whether it's through the mail or someone drops them off, Do you guys register as soon as they come in, check them in any way, or are they just put into a bin and held until election day?
Yeah, well, we'll look at the outer envelope, and if we see a deficiency, hopefully we can catch it soon. But sometimes we can't, and with the mail, obviously, we can't tell you, oh, sir, you did this wrong. But we will look for those when we do intake. We will um, process them so that we know that there's a ratio of, this was Dennis's ballot, and yes, Dennis requested a ballot, and we can sync that up. So we know we're not taking anonymous ballots. We're not taking ballots that might have been introduced into the process some other way other than us issuing the ballot. But if we can catch a deficiency while you're still in the building, yeah, we'll chase you down. But obviously the ones through the mail, we can't do that.
There's been a lot of uh, organizations that have sent out ballot requests to people this year. Something that I don't think I've seen in years past. Are those ballot requests valid? If people get a ballot request in the mail for them to fill out and so on, is that a valid ballot request? They can go ahead and do that.
Yes, the ones that we're seeing, the ones that I've gotten them to my house, my wife's gotten them. So those are, I can't tell you every single one that's ever showed up, but the ones that I'm seeing and that we're receiving are valid forms. If it's the form that is the state form and it is completely blank when it was received by the voter, nothing pre-filled in, and you are mailing it to the Guilford County Board of Elections, then it is a valid form. And we know that groups are doing this. We know that people are getting 2, 3, 4, and 5 of those forms because voters are filling them out and sending them all in. We only need one. But yeah, they are a valid form.
Okay. So there have been, if somebody sends in multiple requests, that's not going to negate anything. Then you're only going to use one of them, right?
That's correct. We're just going to use the one, and it's a data entry efficiency nightmare. But yeah, but we'll just give you one.
People, there's been a lot of talk this year about the safety of mail-in voting,
Right.
the safety of doing this sort of thing. What can you say to people to assure them that if they choose to do mail-in voting, if they choose to request a form and fill it out and send it in and get the ballot and then fill that out and send it in, that their vote is going to be counted and that it's safe?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I'll say is I'm going to vote this way. I've never done it before. My time is I don't have a lot of time in the day. I'm going to do it. My wife is going to do it. My parents are doing it. They're in another county, so I trust that other county to do it, and so I trust it with my own vote. And additionally, those ballots come in, and we are processing them with staff. We're not just sitting them around. We're not opening them up. That'll come way later. But we're keeping these things under Guilford County security, locked and sealed under surveillance. So the ballot is a safe way to vote, and they do get counted if everything is right on that envelope. If it's got its signature and its witness, the Board of Elections counts those things, and hopefully that's the very first thing we put in to our results. Our public results on election night.
Yeah. When do those mail-in ballots actually start getting counted?
Yeah,
They're not counted until after the polls are closed. Is that correct?
right. So there's a couple of things that we can do. We can begin in open meetings of your local Board of Elections. They can begin to, after approving a ballot, they can begin opening those envelopes and they can run them through our tabulating machine, but not tabulate results or release results. And we can do that during these open meetings. And then finally, after the polls close on election day, actually we can do it earlier on election day, just not release the results. We're allowed to then finally tell the program to tabulate these results, print us our tapes, and then we can then display them for the public at 7:30. And if we don't do that, then the question that I would ask is, when do you want results? Because it won't be election night. This is this.
Okay, that's something new. I didn't realize that then. So you guys can actually um, uh, count those mail-in ballots. You're not actually finishing the tabulation, but it's sitting there ready to be, um, I guess, ready to be compiled
Right.
at a moment's notice, so that as soon as the polls close, you can you can run that and have a tally from those mail-in ballots, right?
Right, and you're absolutely right, and it's not a new law. It's just in Guilford County we've not used paper ballots to this extent before. We've never seen anything like this with this by mail, but other counties have done this in North Carolina, so it's not a new process. It's doing it in this quantity is going to be new, and this with this
Okay.
volume is going to be new to us. But if we're talking about 7,500, 125,000 ballots, especially ballots that have been folded in an envelope, we want to be done on election night, and we won't be
Yeah.
if we don't do this process.
All right. So the ballots will be mailed out, as you said, beginning September 4th. And but people will still be able to request a ballot if they haven't already done so up until what date?
They can request up until October 27th.
Okay.
October 27th, a week before the election. I would not recommend waiting that long at all. Go ahead and do that. Do it right now.
And when is when does the ballot need to be
Yeah,
postmarked? What's
that's a
the last postmark
great
that it
question.
can be?
If it's mailed and we receive it before the election day, we don't need a postmark. It's in our hand, timely. That's fine. Postmarks come up, though, if the ballot is received after election day. All right. Any ballot received, we can take ballots that are received Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday after the election, as long as they have a postmark from election day or earlier. So
Okay.
it's a two-prong requirement, statutory requirement. Postmarked by election day, received by Friday, November 6th, for it to be counted.
All right. So you mentioned that Guilford County, we're seeing a real influx, real increase in the request for mail-in ballots. Have you heard from other boards of elections in other counties? Is it the same thing in other counties also that's going on?
Oh yeah, it is the same thing. They're all seeing it. The large counties, we're seeing it all kind of proportional to the same way, depending on our size. And I know the state board. It's such a common question that the state board of elections has just redone their website, and I believe there's a real time tracker on there of how many requests have come into the state.
Okay, that would include all the counties in the state
That's
then,
right.
right?
That's right.
Yeah. All
It's
right.
we're well beyond anything the state's ever seen before, and we still have 2 more months to take requests.
All right. So people can still get those ballot requests in, and they still got time to fill them out. And people can start if they've already sent theirs in, which, like I have, and I even called and got the confirmation that you guys had received it. You actually have a special phone number that people can call to confirm that you've gotten their ballot request. Is that right?
Yeah, we do. You can call and confirm that, and then there will be a point when we start sending ballots out. And I know the state board of elections is working on some things on their website where you can do ballot tracking. There's an intelligent mail barcode on the ballot envelope, and you'll be able to follow its path.
All right. Charlie, this has been very informative. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and let us know about this whole process. I might want to be talking to you again between
Great.
now and election day, find out how the things are going, especially after you mail out those ballots and people start returning them. And want to talk to you to see how all that's going. So, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us today.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Charlie Collicutt,
Hmm.
Director, Guilford County Board of Elections, our guest today on the Papa Dennis Show. And Charlie, again, thank you very much.
Thank you.